Imagine fitting all of Europe inside a place and still having room to spare. That's Australia, a land of wild extremes where modern cities blend ancient deserts, and one of the most ambitious environmental projects in history is unfolding. But here's the eerie reality. Australia is home to some of the harshest deserts on Earth. Temperatures can climb above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius. Rain is as scarce as snow in the Sahara, and the dry ground looks almost like the surface of Mars. But what if I told you that some of that desert is turning green? Here's where our story takes an unexpected turn. Australia is working hard to plant trees on more than 10,000 square kilometers of dry, damaged land, an area bigger than Lebanon. This project isn't just about planting trees, it's about restoring one of the harshest places on Earth to life. It's the Yarra Yarra Biodiversity Corridor. But how did Australia's land become so desertic, and what are scientists, conservationists, and indigenous communities doing to fix it? Australia is massive. It's the sixth largest country in the world, yet its population is just 26 million, less than half of the UK's. However, only 2% of its population lives in the yellow area, because most of it is an uninhabitable desert. The land is shaped by harsh geological and climatic forces. The outback, that endless stretch of red sand and rock, is dry because Australia lacks high mountain ranges to trap moisture. Most rain falls along the coasts, while the interior remains brutally dry. The Great Dividing Range along the east coast catches some rainfall, but once you go inland, the landscape turns into an arid wasteland. The climate change is only making things worse. Higher temperatures and declining rainfall are expanding deserts and making droughts more extreme. Entire rivers, such as the Darling River, have dried up in places due to both reduced rainfall and excessive water use for agriculture. But human activity has played an even bigger role. Now, here's something that might surprise you. These deserts weren't always this way. When European settlers arrived in the late 1700s, they encountered a very different landscape. Much of Australia was covered in native forests and grasslands managed by Aboriginal peoples for over 60,000 years. Indigenous Australians used to control burns, a practice known as fire stick farming. This method prevented large wildfires, promoted a variety of plant life, and kept the soil healthy. When European settlers arrived, they stopped these traditional practices, which allowed thick undergrowth to build up and led to more destructive wildfires. The settlers saw Australia's vast open spaces as an opportunity. They cleared millions of acres of forests and grasslands to make room for farms and livestock without realizing how delicate the ecosystem was. Nearly half of Australia's native forests were cleared, and half the continent's trees were gone in the blink of an eye, historically speaking. We're talking about an area larger than Texas and California combined. Unlike Europe, where rich soils can recover, Australia's land is ancient and low in nutrients. Once the forests were removed, the thin topsoil eroded quickly, turning once green areas into deserts. This process of desertification spread fast, leaving dry, barren land that could no longer support plant or animal life. The loss of forests not only hurt plants, it also devastated native animals. Many species, such as the Tasmanian tiger, were hunted to extinction. Others, like koalas and numbats, lost their habitats and are now endangered. Australia has one of the highest extinction rates in the world, with over 100 native species disappearing since European colonization. For many years, conservationists warned about the dangers of mass deforestation. However, it has only been in recent years that major actions have been taken to try to reverse the damage. Turning a desert green isn't a matter of randomly planting trees. It requires strategic reforestation. Experts now use biodiversity corridors to create connected networks of vegetation, ensuring that new plantings thrive and support local ecosystems. One outstanding example is Australia's Yarra Yarra Biodiversity Corridor. This ambitious project tackles centuries of ecological degradation with innovative reforestation techniques. Located in Western Australia's northern agriculture region, a globally recognized biodiversity hotspot, the corridor demonstrates how to balance carbon capture with ecosystem restoration in vulnerable semi-arid landscapes. Launched in 2008, the corridor has expanded from 14,000 to 18,000 hectares by 2022. Its focus on rehabilitating degraded agriculture lands in the Wheat Belt region, where more than 97% of native vegetation has been cleared. Recent satellite data reveals that the corridor now stretches 200 kilometers, linking 12 nature reserves across 10,000 square kilometers of restored terrain. The primary objective is to sequester and store carbon for 100 years. By the project's end, it's estimated that the trees already in place will have captured over 1.06 million tons of CO2 equivalent, a figure expected to grow as restoration continues. Historically, the Yarra Yarra area was home to vibrant woodlands. However, since Europeans arrived in the early 1900s, traditional farming practices cleared approximately 97% of the vegetation. Today, soil degradation and a drying climate make large portions of the landscape unsuitable for conventional agriculture, while native species struggle to survive amid habitat loss. The solution is simple. Reconnect isolated patches of forest by planting trees and native vegetation in between. This creates corridors through which wildlife can move freely, access food, and rebuild their populations. Of course, planting in such arid conditions presents significant challenges, but the ongoing success of the Yarra Yarra Corridor offers a promising path forward. For trees to thrive in the desert, they require more than just planting. They need a comprehensive support system. Scientists begin by selecting a mix of 30 to 50 native trees and shrub species, including variants of eucalyptus, acacia, banksia, and melaleuca. These indigenous plants, which have evolved over thousands of years in Australia's challenging conditions, provide essential benefits. They create shade, trap moisture, and gradually improve soil quality, making the environment more hospitable for new growth. Water management is another critical component. Instead of relying solely on unpredictable rainfall, the project employs drip irrigation systems and water-retaining soil additives to nurture seedlings through their early vulnerable years. Additionally, some initiatives incorporate fog catchers, devices designed to capture moisture directly from the air, thereby irrigating plants without depleting groundwater reserves. Enhancing the soil's fertility is also key. By enriching dry, degraded soils with added nutrients and organic matter, the land becomes more conducive to plant growth. Researchers are even experimenting with biochar, a type of charcoal that improves soil structure by retaining water and nutrients. Finally, ensuring the longevity of these reforested areas is essential. In fact, Australia recorded an increase in forested areas by 4.4 million hectares, the second largest growth of any nation. Australia went from losing 434,000 hectares of forest between 1990 and 2010 to gaining 446,000 hectares from 2010 to 2020. Conservationists are partnering with local farmers and landowners to integrate sustainable agricultural practices that support the new ecosystems rather than harm them. This collaborative approach helps maintain the delicate balance between restoration and ongoing land use. By addressing these factors, species selection, water management, soil enrichment, and long-term protection, desert reforestation projects can create resilient, thriving landscapes even under harsh conditions. As the forests expand, wildlife is making a promising return. Researchers have documented an increase in bird populations in reforested areas, while species once forced to retreat, including wallabies, echidnas, and small marsupials like bandicoots, are beginning to reclaim their former habitats. The corridor has become a refuge for 450-plus native species, including 22 threatened animal populations. A particularly notable success is the resurgence of the mallee fowl, with 12 new breeding mounds. This rare ground-dwelling bird, which relies on dense vegetation for nesting, is slowly reappearing in regions where it's been absent for decades. The Carnaby's black cockatoo has seen its nesting pairs increase by 18% since 2020 due to restored banksia woodlands providing food and nesting hollows. Finally, the western spiny-tailed skink population density tripled in areas with 5 years plus of revegetation. Floral diversity exceeds initial projections, with 62 native plant species reintroduced, 15 of which were previously locally extinct. Pollinator networks have rebounded, with native bee populations showing 40% higher richness compared to adjacent agricultural lands. Beyond its ecological benefits, the project is making significant strides in carbon capture. As natural carbon sinks, forests absorb CO2 from the atmosphere, playing a crucial role in mitigating climate change. Recent studies suggest that large-scale reforestation efforts across Australia could remove millions of tons of CO2 over the coming decades. While the transformation is gradual, the steady return of wildlife and the measurable impact on carbon capture underscore that this reforestation initiative is indeed working. Australia's reforestation efforts are far from over. Plans are in place to expand biodiversity corridors into new regions and transform even more desert areas into thriving ecosystems. Remarkably, this approach isn't limited to Australia. Its success provides a replicatable model from other arid regions around the globe, from Africa and the Middle East to the western United States. Nations facing desertification can learn from Australia's strategies and implement similar methods to reclaim degraded lands. Large-scale projects like the Great Green Wall in Africa, an initiative to plant trees across the entire Sahel region, are already taking inspiration from Australia's efforts. If you like this video, don't miss the invisible line that made and broke the US. Click on this video